Hello and welcome. Today we are excited to be joined by Ricardo Alder from pay.com.au, and he's going to be sharing what his solution does for the accounting and the bookkeeping community. So welcome, Ricardo.
Hi, thanks Heather for having me. As Heather said, I'm here to present about pay.com.au, a little bit about what we do. Just for some context, I work in our sales team here and do work with plenty of accountants and bookkeepers. So more than happy to sort of present and take you guys through the product and what the offering would be. So without further ado, pay.com.au has been around for about 5 years now, servicing about 60,000 different businesses across Australia. And that ranges from businesses processing anywhere between sort of 5 to 20K a month worth of payments, all the way up to above 1 million, above 5 million. So it's a product and an offering that would work for businesses of any size, and particularly for bookkeepers and accountants as well. Something that you could potentially offer out as a sort of wholesale solution to different businesses that you may be working with. So we'll go through the system and sort of how it works, and walk through a couple of questions that you might have down the line. So beautiful. So the main purpose of pay.com.au is to allow business owners to, number one, streamline their payments. So that's in the sense of being able to link in multiple different payment methods. So regardless of whether businesses that you work with are paying using a credit card or a bank account, you'll be able to have all those payment methods linked into one system and then be able to process your payments through it. So there would no longer be a need to go into your CommBank account or your ANZ account and pay out of there, or go to suppliers and pay direct. Instead, pay.com.au offers a all-in-one solution for you to be able to process all of your business payments. The second side of the system, and what a lot of people look to as the biggest positive, is the ability to earn uncapped rewards. That's either contained within allowing you to be able to make payments with a credit card where you traditionally haven't been able to previously. So that might be to a couple of pesky suppliers who just don't accept your credit card type for whatever reason, or where you traditionally wouldn't earn your full allocation of rewards, like on payments to the ATO. Outside of that, we also do give businesses the ability to earn uncapped rewards paying direct out of a bank account as well. So this is something which pay.com.au is market leading in, and that's contained within our own Pay Rewards program, which currently at the moment covers 16 different transfer partners, so 12 airlines and 4 hotels, but also giving businesses the ability to transfer points out to gift cards that could be given out to staff as bonuses, or anything else that they are needing to pay for the business as well. So there's the aspect of being a all-in-one business payments platform, with the kicker being probably the best rewards offering on the market, at least at the moment. So beautiful. So as we touched on, probably the biggest thing that pay.com.au tries to address is the fact that a lot of suppliers out there still do not accept credit card as a form of payment. So by linking your credit card into pay.com.au and putting in the BSB and account number or BPay number of your supplier, you'd still be able to pay them using that credit card. There are a few things that you can't pay with credit card that are still blocked. So with American Express, for example, unfortunately, payroll would be one of those. But 99.9% of payments you'll be able to put through the system with absolutely no issue at all. And that would allow you to, like I said, earn the full allocation rewards of that credit card, plus have the ability to earn our own bespoke pay reward points on top as well, if desired. Alternatively, like I did mention previously, if businesses don't have a rewards earning credit card, or they're just looking for a way to streamline their payments, then of course you can come through and link up the bank account. And from the bank account, there are next to no restrictions at all. So you'd be able to process payroll, credit card repayments, loan repayments, suppliers, rent, anything that you've got that's coming out as a business expense, you'd be able to run through the system and earn uncapped rewards on. So beautiful. Sorry, Heather, you had a question?
No, it's good.
All good. Beautiful. So in terms of payments that you can make, as I mentioned, you'll be able to do absolutely everything through the system. And it works in such a way that no matter which way you do your accounting or no matter which way you currently make your payments, the system's been built to be able to support you to essentially plug and play what you're doing at the moment. So, as I mentioned, you'd link your credit cards to the system, you'd link your bank accounts to the system. If you do use Xero, we would heavily recommend that you link Xero up as well, as there is a direct integration there that we can run through in a little bit. But in terms of actually going through and processing payments, like you might have heard me mention, you can then just input the BSB, an account number, or BPay number, and the ABN for your suppliers, or just the BSB and account number for your payroll staff. And then you would be able to go through and process those payments through the system, choosing whichever payment method you'd like. So with pay.com.au, there's really no payments that you can't cover. You might ask questions around sort of international payments, and that's a solution which we've recently introduced as well, where we do allow our international payments to come through the system direct. So there's really nothing that you can't do through the system at all. And the beauty of it is that everything, like I said, is contained in one place. So whether that be from remittance advices through to invoicing, through to a number of different things, pay.com.au will be able to cover nearly everything that your business would need to do from a payments perspective.
It surprises me that people pay payroll using credit cards.
Yeah, absolutely. So Visa MasterCard would be a really interesting way to do it. As I did mention, American Express, unfortunately, they block us from processing payroll payments, but you certainly can do payments to contractors with the American Express. That's more than possible. But it's just a really good way of obviously earning the rewards, but more importantly for a lot of businesses and bookkeepers is to unlock the cash flow that credit cards offer. So being able to push a lot more through a credit card would certainly help businesses grow as well, which is great. Cool. In terms of sort of, how people would actually go through and process payments on the system. Look, you do have the ability, as you do in Xero and other accounting platforms, to go through and set up multiple users in the system. So if you're a bookkeeper or you're an accountant, you can certainly be invited onto an account, and they would then be able to have different levels of access. So, for example, you could give view-only access, which means that bookkeepers could just go in and sort of view payments that are being made on the system. Or alternatively, they could have full admin access to the system. So to be able to go through, upload payment methods, upload payees, and all the way through to authorizing payments as well. It really depends on the setup that you've got for your business. So please do go through and have a look on our help center or get in touch with us just to figure out what the best role would be for you. But that's limited to not only people who are going to be approving payments on the system, but also anybody who's going to be sort of benefiting from the points that are earned on the system as well. So we do give people the ability to go through and get set up as what's called a rewards only user. So like you would have heard me mention earlier on, one of the great ways to pull out benefits from the system would be giving out gift cards to staff in the form of points. But more interesting than that, we actually give people the ability, like I said, to get set up as rewards only users, which means they have their own bank of points. So if you're an account owner, so a director of a business, the points themselves that you earn on the system would accrue under your name. You'd then be able to go through, input the email address for someone else who's been set up on the system and send as many points as, across to them. And then they'd be able to do whatever they like to do, whatever they would like to do with those points, whether it's, spending them for flights or for hotels, or for gift cards or anything else. So
that added a whole layer of new dimensions to what I thought it could do. So I always assumed that it was just all going to the business owner for their European vacations, but no, you have the ability to share it out as a rewards basis.
Of course, yeah, and that's really one of the main advantages of us in comparison to even a lot of rewards earning credit cards is that traditionally, if you had, like an American Express card, for example, all of the rewards that you accrue are in one place, so just under the business owner themselves. But in this way, multiple shareholders or, like I said, even staff can be issued their own bank of points to then use for whatever they'd like. Probably the most interesting ones that we have come through are business owners that use the points intelligently to reinvest back into the business. So we've had business owners do like full shop, new shop fit outs through the system, or purchase new IT equipment for their business as well, using the points. And that's just another really great way to sort of tangibly pull out a real benefit from the system in that sense. So it's kind of shifting away from the idea that points themselves are exclusively for flights. There's a whole other world to points, which can be really beneficial for business owners, but then also other people involved in the business as well.
So while I don't want you to give me tax advice, if they're using the points for business usage, they don't get the opportunity to claim it as an expense. It almost comes in as free almost. Is that correct?
Yeah, look, obviously I'm not a tax advisor,
Right.
so anything I say should not be treated as tax advice in that sense. Look, guidance that we've certainly been given is that there are hard limits around giving out bonuses to staff in the form of points, of which I believe the ATO themselves have imparted a 200,000 point a year limit on that. In terms of business owners themselves, it is a different relationship that business owners and shareholders have to the business. So to the best of my knowledge, they wouldn't be subject to that. But it would always be recommended to go and seek your own tax advice in that sense before sort of approaching or having a look at different ways that you can redeem the rewards either accrued through the system or from credit cards. So
yeah, absolutely. Another area to explore for people to go off and explore on their own.
Of course, absolutely. So look, in terms of what businesses would be realistically pulling out of the system, there is a bit of example on this screen, which contextualizes the points themselves in the form of flights. But look, obviously there's a number of different avenues you can go down. In this example, it's allowing this business in particular to process $2 million worth of payments a year with an American Express Platinum that they wouldn't have been able to use otherwise. They're incurring about $28,500 in processing fees after a likely tax deduction. But that would give this business the full allocation of rewards from their American Express card. So that'd be 4.5 million American Express points, which would transfer through to roughly 2.2 million points with someone like Qantas, for example. Now, this in here is given an example of a couple of return business class flights from Darwin to London. But look, particularly for a lot of our businesses, they use the points for their business trips. So whether that's domestically or internationally, there's certainly great benefit to be pulled out if you are utilizing a credit card itself. But then also if you're using the bank account as well. As you can see on here, even without using a credit card, there's still a number of really big advantages for business owners and anybody else attached to the business to be able to pull out as well. So there's tangible benefits that are not contained purely in terms of flights as well, which is great. So
yeah, absolutely. So it costs to use it, but you need to determine how you're going to use it and sort of the return that you can achieve there.
Of course, yeah. Which is, look, that's probably the biggest question that a lot of businesses have around using not only a system like ours, but also credit cards as well, where externally to us you would incur fees anyway, is to make sure that you're tangibly pulling out a benefit from the points accrued, because it's one thing to, put all of your payments through a system or put all of your payments through a credit card and then you accrue these rewards and out the other end you're not too sure what to do with them. But that's where the buck just doesn't kind of stop there. We also do go through and provide a full travel service to people as well. So if you get stuck at any stage of the process when it comes to bookings, then come through and get in touch with our travel team, or having the ability to come through to our concierge team and they're able to source obviously any of those gift cards that we spoke about earlier. or any invoices that you need paid for the business, or even any items or tickets to events that you guys might need from a business perspective as well. There's always ways to be able to pull out a proper benefit from the system. It's just a matter of either coming through and having a chat with us or doing the necessary research yourselves to be able to not convince yourself of it, but to be able to sort of see the reality of what we're actually seeing on the screen. So
yeah, absolutely. And there are, like, I've got friends who play the game and are always traveling, but they spend the time and they pay for the systems to search for the rewards, which is what you're offering with your concierge service and your travel agency
absolutely.
service.
Absolutely. That's it. No, beautiful. Cool. In terms of sort of where points can be transferred through to, so like I said, at present there's actually more than what's displayed on the screen. We keep onboarding new partners, which makes it difficult to keep up. But there are 12 airline partners that you'd be able to transfer the points through to, but also 4 hotel partners. So certainly covers a wide range of travel that you would be looking to do. In terms of how a lot of businesses choose to use the system, like Tradie, for example, there are a number of different ways to go about it. A lot of businesses, in terms of what they would need to get set up on the system, they would utilize their own internet banking. So you would still need to have your own internet banking set up externally to us, whether that's with CBA, ANZ, or any Australian banking provider, and or any credit cards that you're looking to use on the system as well. Then obviously you'd have pay.com.au set up in the middle. And then out the other end, you would have your own accounting platform. So whether that's MyOb, QuickBooks, but obviously preferably Xero with us. It doesn't really matter which way you do your accounting out the other end. There's always going to be solutions that we can provide to be able to help you guys out, both from an accounting standpoint, but then obviously from that standpoint of being able to process payments as well pretty easily and earn rewards out the other end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
So is
it.
there,
Yeah.
you've talked about like where it works well, and it seems
Yep.
to me it where the situations it's not ideal for, I'd be interested in you talking to that. But it seems to me that situation would be not fully understanding the process and what you're hoping to achieve from it, and sort of you've got one big side and then one other side, sort of the accumulation and then the
Yep.
spending of the points. So
Yeah, yeah, certainly. Look, I won't sugarcoat things. There's definitely instances where, even personally, I've turned around to businesses that have signed up with us and said, "Hey, potentially this might not be for you." Um, Probably the most frequent conversations that we have with people where we sort of say, "Hey, this might not be best for you," is if they're potentially a sole trader and they don't have an unbelievably high amount of payments to put through, and or we've got people come through that see our attractive advertising online that don't hold an ABN. So you do need an ABN to sign up on the. Hopefully, at some stage we might have some kind of consumer solution, but just yet that's not here. But look, like you mentioned, Heather, it's more a misunderstanding
yeah,
of the points themselves and what you can pull out the other end. Because, look, personally, I've been here for 3 years, so I've probably spoken to God, probably 15, 20,000 different business owners in my time, and I can probably count on 2 hands the amount of conversations where out the other end it's gone, okay, this might not be for you, and that was particularly because people were able to pay nearly everything that they needed to pay with the credit card. Although then you can get into a conversation about, potentially doing credit card repayments with a bank account, earning another hit of points that are potentially a bit more practical and usable than what you're getting from the credit card. So you can see that even as I talk now, I'm kind of going back to those conversations and thinking about how there was still a benefit to be had for a lot of these
yeah,
businesses by using a system like ours.
yep,
Cool. Beautiful. Look, in terms of processing fees that we charge and other things sort of involved, It does differ business to business in terms of what subscription plan would sort of best suit your needs. It definitely would be worthwhile coming through and having a conversation with us. When businesses come through and sign up, regardless of size, they do get 30 days complimentary on our premium subscription plan, which is a great way to sort of test out the system and see, what kind of payments you're going to put through and what practically from an operational perspective is going to work for you long term, because that's obviously worth having a think about. If any businesses need sort of additional time on that premium subscription plan, potentially because you haven't been able to sort of fully get into it just yet, then certainly come through and have a chat with us. We're more than happy to see what we can do as well. But anytime you go through and process a payment on the system, there will be a fee attached to it. As we ran through previously, there's benefits that should outweigh the processing fees that you pay, so they shouldn't be, too scary in that sense. But if you are utilizing a credit card, then we would charge a credit card processing fee. If you'd like to, you can sort of stop there and just pay that fee associated with the card, but still earn the full allocation of rewards from your specific card type. Or you can then actually go through and do what we call the double dip and earn the additional pay reward points on top, although that does add an additional processing fee. So like I said, it's definitely going to be subjective business to business as to what's going to work for you. And that's why it would be worthwhile, like I said, either going and doing your own research or just coming through and having a chat with us. Like I said, we speak to businesses all day, every day, but things are going to be different business to business. And depending on what you actually want to do with the points out the other end, then it would certainly be worthwhile coming through and having a chat just to see what we can do for you guys. So
fantastic.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
No, of course. Probably one of the biggest questions that we have would be around security, particularly in today's day and age and dealing with payments. It is a really valid question. And I think probably the most important one to ask. So if it sort of gives any peace of mind to people, look, obviously we're at the moment have about sort of 55 to 60,000 businesses signed up on the system. We've never had any major instances of fraud or anything like that. We've got full ISO certification. All of our payments and banking in the back end is run through two of the big banks. Customer funds. So when you make a payment on your pay.com.au account, they are technically coming to us. And then we pay them forward through to the BSB and account number or BPay number that's been inputted on the system. That account where funds land, that's not intermixed with any of our sort of operating expenses. So they are held in separate accounts. Realistically, the period of time that pay.com.au holds funds for is incredibly slim. To give you some context, if you were to go through and process a bank transfer with us, for example, utilizing Pay ID for same-day payments, which we do have set up, as long as you had that payment approved before 2 p.m. Melbourne time, if you did it at, say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we would receive funds from you at about 1:30, and then we have that payment out of our account at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's a really short period of time that we do hold funds for. The other advantage of that is that if payments bounce for any reason, if there's been any incorrect details that have been inputted on that payee or on that ABA file or from Xero, then they would bounce back to us, and then we're able to go through and reach out to you for a copy of an invoice or for their correct details so that we can have that back out. So it does just add another layer of security into those payments. But then obviously all of our banking is institutional banking, which is a lot more secure than what even something like Combiz, for example, would afford customers. But then going further than that, there's obviously two-factor authentication to get into the system. If you have those different roles set up, then you can limit who can actually approve payments on the system. But then you also are able to go through and set up, as you would in any of those sort of enterprise banking solutions, like two-step authorization on payments, which can be based on different payment size, but also different individuals that are on the account. So there's a bunch of different things that you can customize just to make sure that from a security perspective, everything is exactly as it should be. So,
excellent.
Beautiful. So in terms of the advisor program that we have running at the moment, so this is open to accountants, bookkeepers, and their clients. We're also running a sign-up offer here. So you can earn 10,000 bonus pay reward points upon sign-up. So within 30 days of signing up, you would have a certain amount of spend that you would need to hit in order for those points to be applied to your account. So you can either scan the QR code that you can see on the page at the moment, or go through, and when you're doing your setup, go through and enter in that code advisor10 to be able to unlock the benefits of that offer.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure people will follow up if they're interested.
Absolutely. That's it. Absolutely. Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Are there any, are you going to talk about what it integrates with? I know you've mentioned Xero and QuickBooks Online and MYOB. Yep. Is there anything else that pay.com.au integrates with?
Yeah, certainly. So look, we are currently at the moment working on having full integrations with both QuickBooks and MYOB. It's something which is heavily requested, so hopefully that should be coming shortly. Okay. Xero is that main integration that we've got, and the beauty of that integration is that you wouldn't have to load any supplier details in our system. So we there pick up on any bills that you've got in Xero marked awaiting payment, where you would traditionally go through and generate an ABA file to pay out, or just go into your normal internet banking to pay out direct. Instead, you would jump on pay.com.au, click import from Xero, choose your bills, go right through, and then choose where you want it to reconcile to back in Xero. So that does have automatic reconciliation set up with it out the other end, which just makes things really neat and tidy from an accounting perspective. In terms of other integrations that we've got, like I said, we're obviously working on a number of things, but there's those integrations with the frequent flyer programs as well, from a rewards perspective, which is obviously really important. But then there are a few other things that you might come across on the system as well, which are pretty cool. So we've got a partnership with a company called Ascender, which does basically searches for flights in cash. And that gives you the ability to pay for cash fares using your pay reward points as well. So if you've either tried and couldn't find the flights you're after, or even had a chat with our team, for example, which is few and far between, but certainly can happen, then you've got the ability to go through and essentially do a search through something like Skyscanner or Google Flights. And that would essentially allow you to convert your pay rewards into cash to pay for your flights, which is pretty cool. So there's a number of other integrations that are being worked on in the back end from a points perspective, but obviously more importantly to the conversation we're having at the moment from a payments perspective as well. It's something which we're sort of continuously looking to improve, and certainly any feedback that anybody would have would be heavily encouraged. So
excellent. So how long does it take from application to operation? And then how long does the actual integration take?
Yeah, so again, it's certainly subjective, business to business. So depending on the way that your business is set up, it can take anywhere from probably the shortest time frame I've had for someone to go right from sign up right through to integrating and being able to make payments would be 15, 20 minutes. The longest would be in the odd instances where we may require copies of IDs for other directors, that kind of thing. If you'd like, Heather, I'm happy to sort of take you through that initial sign up process, just to show you what it would look like. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. I might just stop my screen share for a moment. Jump on. Beautiful. So as you can see here, this is just on our main pay.com.au page. All you'd need to do is head to Get Started up in the top right-hand corner. From there, we would need you to select what role you hold in the business that you're signing up for. So if you're a business owner, director, if you're an accountant or bookkeeper, if you're just an employee, or like I spoke about, if you are just here to redeem points. So for the sake of this, we'll say that we're an accountant. You come through, choose what you're looking to do with the system, choose your knowledge of points, and choose exactly what you're sort of looking to pull out of the system. So we'll select employee rewards just because that's what we've been speaking about. And then it's just inputting a few basic personal details. So your email address, your first and last name. I'd make sure to say, just so we don't have to change anything, please make sure that this is your legal first and last name as it's reflected on your sort of identity document, just so things match up when we have to go through and do some verification. Essentially, what would happen after we get through this screen is it would take you through into the system and then just get you to add the ABN. So all you'd need to do is add the ABN, confirm the business details that we pull through when we do a search in the back end through the ABN lookup. You would then need to go through and do some verification. So particularly that would need to be any directors or majority shareholders. So we would need a piece of ID documentation from the director themselves, and then potentially any other majority shareholders, maybe. But then also trust deeds if you're set up as a trust. But everything's contained within the system. So it's very rare that we would reach out after someone goes through and signs up for an additional piece of documentation. Everything, as with most things on the system, is pretty streamlined. So as soon as you enter in your ABN, we'll tell you exactly what piece of documentation we need. Should take our team anywhere between sort of 45 minutes to an hour to actually review that verification that's been completed. And then you'd receive an email from us letting you know that the account's been verified. But then further from that, you'd also receive a call from somebody like me, just letting you know the account's been verified, and just check in and see if you have any questions and give you a hand with the remainder of the onboarding process.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Ricardo. Is there anything else that the viewers should know about? Do you want to pop back to the screen, that contact us screen, so they can see that again?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Look, like I said, we're always here to have a chat with you. So, look, if there's absolutely anything from today's conversation which hasn't made sense to you, if there's any burning questions that you've got, we're always absolutely welcome to have a chat with you. It would certainly be worthwhile. I can take you through very quickly the process of actually linking a payment method to the system and processing a payment.
That would be great, Ricardo.
Shouldn't take more than 2-3 minutes to do. Cool. Yeah. Beautiful. Cool. So I will just jump into our testing environment in the back end just so I can actually show you what the system would look like if it was fully set up. And look, if you do, or if you'd like to have a live demo with somebody, then come through and ask. We always recommend to do that as well. It's just a much better way to get a proper understanding for the system and how it's going to work for your business as well. So when you're in the pay.com.au platform, so after you've gone through, done that sign up.
The platform, we've still got the slide up. I'm not sure if you're sharing that with us.
Apologies.
That's all right.
Technical difficulties. So
okay, excellent.
Beautiful. Alrighty. So once you've completed that verification and you pop through into the system, your first point of order would be to go through and link in payment methods. So as we spoke about earlier on, that's either going to be a credit card or a bank account or a combination of both. For example, if we were to go through and link a card into the system, it's just the card details. And then some verification, like a two-factor verification that most cards do to link into systems these days. So you'd accept that in your card app, and then you'd be popped back into pay.com.au. From there, it would just be a matter of clicking verify next to the card and inputting some microtransactions that we pop into your card statement itself. Once that's done, that card will be verified and ready to use on the system. So there's no other sort of verification that we need to do there. For bank accounts, we can give people the ability to manually link bank accounts into the system. So the same way that you linked your card, it would just be with entering in the BSB and account number and the bank account name and sort of following the prompts from there. So after those have been linked into the system, probably the only other thing you'd need to do would be to either add in a payee or prepare your ABA file, or set up that direct integration from Xero. So adding a payee into the system is as simple as heading to the payees on the left, clicking Add Payee up on the top right, and then choosing whether you are going to be paying a supplier or your payroll staff. So the main difference there is that the suppliers, we do require an ABN to be entered, whereas payroll staff, obviously, we don't.
So you can't pull that across from Xero?
You certainly can. No, you certainly can. Look, really the only people that you would have to manually pay through the system or manually add into the system would be anybody that you're paying via BPay. Unfortunately, one of the limitations on Xero side is that it doesn't contain BPay information, so those would have to be manually added. But there's no other verification that we need to do of payees. So just in that odd instance that you do need to add them in that way, then that would be that process. But look, in terms of that integration, it's really simple. So when you first come through on your dashboard, we would prompt you to link your Xero account, or alternatively, you can just go settings and then across to integrations.
Yep.
And there'll be a one button click for you to be able to connect your Xero account. It'll prompt you to log in, choose the company that you're wanting to link into the system. So if you're doing the books or accounting for a bunch of different organizations, you just make sure you choose the correct one there. And then essentially all you'd need to do is head to make a payment on the left-hand side, supplier payment, and import from Xero. As I said, this will pull through any bills that you've got in Xero that are marked awaiting payment. You can change this view down here so that it can so that it shows everything. You'll be able to go through and search by either amount or the name on the contact, and obviously choose by dates, etc. All you'd need to do from here is go through, tick off the payments you're actually looking to make. So a tiny bit like doing a batch payment file, except the payments would be charged individually. So you choose what you want to pay, choose your payment method, so either credit card or bank account. As you might have heard me mention earlier, credit cards themselves, as long as you have payments in and approved on the system before 6 p.m. Melbourne time, then they should go through next business day in the afternoon.
Yep.
If you are utilizing the bank account, then we've got two different solutions for same-day payments. We have got Pay2 set up, which is really only turned on at the moment for CommBank and ANZ customers. It's more the banks themselves kind of dragging their heels than what we are with that one. But then there is the option to choose Pay ID as well, which should be on by default for nearly all for all major banks.
Yeah.
So just for the purposes of this, we'll say we're going to pay out of our Visa card. And then you'd have a screen to choose the level of rewards that you want to earn. So as you might have heard me mention earlier, you'll have three different options. You can choose, I don't want any additional rewards. The only thing you pay in here would be the merchant fee associated with your particular card type. So in this instance, I'd be paying a 1.2% Visa fee, but I'd still be getting the full allocation of rewards from that card.
Yeah.
Or you can choose to boost the points and earn the pay rewards on top as well. So it'll be a choice each time you go through and make a payment what you want to do, which just kind of adds to the flexibility that the system has on offer for people.
So if the option is I don't want any additional rewards, why would the person put it through this system? Because
great question.
Essentially, you start charging them for something that they're not. There's nothing happening.
That's a great question.
Other than if they can't pay by credit card. So if they could pay by credit card, why would they do it this way?
Yeah. So look, the three main use cases of us with credit cards is number one, what you just mentioned. So if you traditionally cannot pay with credit card directly to your supplier, or just things that you outright can't do using a Visa, MasterCard, for example, like payroll, that's where you would potentially utilize pay.com.au. And if you don't want the additional rewards, choose that. The second would be, even if you've got suppliers externally or people that you're paying that do accept the credit card directly, if you've got somebody that's charging you a 1.5% Visa fee, for example, because we essentially take over as the merchant that charges the credit card, you would then only be subject to our Visa fee, which is 1.2%. So you could also make the payments cheaper as well. So instead of paying a 1.5% fee externally, you're paying a 1.2 or a 1% Visa fee with us. So it would make the processing fee cheaper. but then also anywhere where you traditionally wouldn't earn your full allocation of rewards by paying direct, which for most credit cards would be on government payments. So to give you an example there, someone like American Express, you actually can pay the ATO directly with American Express, albeit you get charged a 1.45% merchant fee,
Yeah.
and the usual earn rate on those cards gets cut in half. Whereas by making
Okay.
the payment with us, you instead pay our American Express fee, which on that premium plan would be 1.9%, but that allows you to pull out the full allocation of rewards from the card. And then if you factor in that the fee itself might is potentially tax deductible as well, then it's a bit of a kicker. So
Interesting. Thank you
that's
for
it.
explaining that.
That's all good. Happy to. So after you've chosen those rewards, there's one final screen
I
just
like
to
that
make sure.
that screen was very transparent. It was very clear
Yes.
about what was happening because I was wondering, are we going to get to the nuts and bolts? But we did.
Yes, absolutely. No, look, there's
Awesome.
nothing kind of hidden on the system, and that's what you will and should come across.
Mm.
So look, on this final screen, you get the opportunity to just make sure all the details on the payment are correct, make sure that who you're paying is correct, and make sure that you're obviously paying from the correct payment method as well. But then more importantly in here, with this Xero integration, you choose where you'd want the payment to reconcile to back in
Yeah.
Xero. Unfortunately, I don't have a bank feed set up for this Visa
Yeah,
card
no,
in
that's
Xero.
fine. Yeah.
But just imagine that this has got a Visa card selected on the left, and and obviously the processing fees would be coded and sent to like a 404 bank fees or something
Yeah.
similar you might have set up in Xero, and that just takes out time where you would normally need to go through and do manual reconciliation. So
Yeah.
after
Makes
you've
sense.
chosen those account codes, you tick the payment off, make sure it's not anything illegal or against our T's and C's, and click confirm. And that payment would be off for processing. We'd mark the bill as being paid in Xero and do that reconciliation for you. You'd then be able to go through and get a full picture as to exactly where the payment is sitting.
Hmm.
So whether it's currently processing or it has been processed, you are able to go through and generate like a full transaction history report from the system, which contains all of the payments broken down by, obviously who they're to, the amount paid to the supplier, the fees paid, the points earned, payment method used, who approved it, etc. So you get full transparency over everything from a payments perspective.
Yep.
But then just in case you lose any of those important tax invoices that we send out for the processing fees themselves, you're able to go through and generate them through the system again, if need be. So
Excellent. Thank you.
no, all good. Probably the last and one of the most important things to hit on would just be adding in additional users, as we spoke about. So this is where if a business owner goes through and sets the account up and wants to invite any bookkeepers or accountants onto the system, they can do so just in the settings on the left-hand side. And then you just need to click add user, put in a name, an email address, and choose that role like we spoke about. And then that would send an email out to them. They'd be prompted to go through and set up an email password login. And then they'd have access to the account to be able to do, obviously, necessarily what they need to do. So
Excellent.
beautiful. Perfect. Did you have any questions on your end, Heather?
No, I think you've gone through everything and explained it all. And like it is quite simple, but you've sort of highlighted, I
Yeah.
think, a lot of the questions that people would have, and you've provided how they can get in contact with you for more information, for the accounting and bookkeeper program, and yeah, I'm sure people will be interested, intrigued at this opportunity as they look forward to their European vacations.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Who shouldn't be? Cool. Well, beautiful. Well, no, look, it's been my pleasure taking you through. And like I said earlier on, and I've said a few times, but it's not just because I enjoy chatting with people over the phone. It's just to make sure that the solution actually works for you. So please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. There is a main pay.com.au line that you can call into, and you'll end up chatting to myself or one of our colleagues. Or go through, set up an account, and you'll get contacted anyway. So I look forward to working with anybody who's watching this video. So
Cheers. Thank you so much, Ricardo.
all good. Thanks, Heather.